Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me. I am a master nutritionist, functional blood work specialist, quantum energy healer. And, I wanted to talk about holiday swaps, holiday season here, but I mean, I've done workshops, I've done all kinds live workshops, you name it, on holiday swaps. Because especially when my kids were little, I was all about that. We had like some gluten and grain sensitivities. So there were like little swaps like how can you make this recipe without this? How can you switch and swap that out? And of course, choosing more natural ingredients, choosing the organic and dye-free version of something else is awesome. Okay. And that's going to be wonderful. But instead of just trying to be healthy this holiday season, let's make it easier. Okay. A few tiny swaps that are going to support your body and protect your energy. Okay. Because we can swap out stuff. Of course, we want to eat those foods that are good for us because that's going to be that first thing. Obviously, the first thing is to swap out like the heavy, super spicy, sugary meals. You want warm, simple, stabilizing food. You want to eat with the season. We've talked about this. Okay. So this is not about diet culture, okay? This is not about an almond mom like trying to ruin everybody's fun by giving them different, whatever. If you want to choose healthier sugar options to give your kids, or just to feed your family, candy and cookies and cakes and pies and things like that, awesome. Making them at home, like this is ideal. When those things are consumed, that is ideal. But also just think, eat with the season because you want nervous system support here. So soups and stews, those roasted veggies, all those root veggies and stuff. Make sure you're getting enough protein. Okay. You want to stabilize your blood sugar because it's going to stabilize your mood. And that's going to help a lot. If you are, if you're out in a crowded place, you're overwhelmed and somebody hands you a candy cane, nervous system is not happy. So, every little thing you can do is great. Of course, it doesn't stop there though. Okay. So, if you want any specifics, I believe I have a podcast episode with specifics, but I can hook it up. If you want like full on specifics on holiday swaps food wise, you reach out, put it in the comments, something like that. I got you. All right. Your girl can hook you up. Okay. The second thing, let's swap out some of the eggnog and the cocktails for mocktails with minerals. Now, am I saying that you can't drink it all? No, I'm not saying that. If you choose not to drink it all, awesome. I love that for you. If you like to have a little bit of wine or you like to have some rum chata or eggnog this time of year, that is okay. But by decreasing it, switching it out, having the mocktails in between, it's really going to help because, all right, number one, alcohol spikes cortisol. Okay. And it disrupts your sleep. It makes you more reactive. It makes you fragile. Everybody's trying to hurt my feelings. You're just really reactive and everything. So, in between your drinks or before or after or something, if you have something like, some cranberry, and actually the cranberry like honey syrup from my honey fermented cranberries, I still have like a little bit of that, squeeze of lime, some sparkling water, hello, wonderful. That is like so refreshing and wonderful. It has that fermented in there, but even if you don't have that, you just put a little bit of cranberry juice, make yourself a little something with some electrolytes in it. You can put a little salt if you want. You've got that squeeze of citrus in there. You're doing great. That is going to give your body what it needs in between. It's going to help with that cortisol spike. It's going to help with the disrupted sleep because the hydration, all those electrolytes are going to replenish and kind of morph you back into a human form. Okay, so you can absolutely do that. And I mean, I know you guys hear me talking about moment drinks. Those have ashwagandha and like hibiscus and like ginger. There's like all kinds of adaptogenic herbs and apple cider vinegar and L-theanine and things like that in there that are really, really helping to calm your nervous system. They can even help you focus a little bit, but they're not like caffeinated. So I will give you, I'll give you my code to save some money on those if you want those at the end. Okay. But swapping out in the middle, you don't want to have, just like alcohol after alcohol after alcohol. Give your body what it actually wants in between, if that's what you're choosing to do. Okay, your nervous system, you'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, thank God, Jess said to do that. That was really good, right? Okay, so candy grazing. Especially ADHDers. We like to candy graze. Or chip graze or whatever. So, but candy in general. Um, you know we don't want to be just sitting there like shoving it in our faces, okay? Because we're gonna have blood sugar chaos, and that's not fun at all, because then you're overwhelmed and anxious, and it's just not a fun time. So a good dark chocolate, of course, like an organic dark chocolate is fantastic. It doesn't even have to be super dark. Like, it can still taste good. Like, some people are like, ew, I don't like dark chocolate. It's okay. It doesn't have to be like super dark. But dark is, in general, it's going to be better. Getting something organic, you're gonna be able to get more out of like the benefits of the magnesium and stuff when it is a good quality chocolate like that, and it doesn't have quite as much of the additives and the sugar, like the really it's that, the processed sugar. So like organic cane sugar would be better than, like, some of those processed things that they throw in there, because of, like I said, blood sugar chaos. So dark chocolate is a good thing to do. If you really like to crave fruity stuff, I cannot suggest pomegranate seeds enough. I think arils, I think they're called. I've only ever read the word. I don't think I've ever heard anybody pronounce it. But honestly, I think my daughter is cutting up a pomegranate for herself right now. They are packed with antioxidants and wonderful, wonderful things. They are delicious. They're in season this time of year. Probably finding them in all of your grocery stores. They can be a bit of a pain in the butt to cut open. They're not. That's really not that difficult. But if you like Skittles, if you like Skittles or Giggles, you like stuff like that, pomegranate seeds, those will absolutely take care of that craving for you, and they're so much better for you. So there you go. All right, so let's get into some of these energetic and emotional swaps, because that's really what that's what I wanted to focus on for today, because we can change so much about what we're putting into our body and everything, but we forget about the energy that we're allowing to surround us and be in our body and really have an effect on our nervous system. So, we have people pleasing yeses, because there are a lot of invitations to a lot of things, or there's a lot of stuff that you're expected to do, or maybe you'll try to do. So instead of doing all the people pleasing yeses, pick two things that you can just go, nope, I'm not doing that this year. It doesn't have to be anything big, but just two things that you can be like, what, I'm not going to do that, so that you have a little breath of fresh air. Okay. Your nervous system will thank you. It is just, it's just like letting off a little bit of pressure. Let it go. I don't need to do that. So, it can be like, it doesn't have to be like a big thing. It could, but even small things, sometimes it's like, oh my God, I still have to do that. So go ahead and pick a couple of things. It's okay. Because you know what? There's so much other magic going on. Probably nobody's even going to notice it. Like, you're like, well, maybe this year I won't make that cookie. I won't, do this and bring it over. Yeah, there's always something that you can just be like, I don't need to do that every single year. And it's okay. It's okay. Your nervous system will love that. So as far as like getting into parties, being somewhere, sometimes it's a part like I've got to go to a work party, for my husband, and sometimes you might have like a big family party for Christmas time and everything. So sometimes you get into like knee-jerk arguments because somebody else doesn't have the same opinion as you or whatever, but just like I said last week, is this worth your cortisol? And it's probably not. So if somebody is saying something to you and you completely disagree with them, it doesn't even matter what it is. You just look at them, you go, you just let them speak, because they're allowed to have their opinion. Okay. They're allowed to. And you can just go, interesting. And then move on. You're under no obligation to share your opinion on it, especially if it's going to start like a whole big thing that you don't even want to get into, because that could drain you. So, you don't need to get all, so just let it go and allow it to move along. And I'm going to talk about I'm actually going to skip over, because I want to talk about this next one next, because we're talking about, socializing. So, we end up having a lot of like forced connections, like forced socializing. You're in there, there's small talk, and like I said, I'm going to be going to like my husband's holiday work party. Everybody there is very nice, but you get a lot of like the same types of questions, like, oh, so what do you do, what are you doing with this, blah 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 blah, blah. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, because everybody's just trying to be friendly. But if you can manage to get microdoses of genuine connection in there, it's really going to help. Because, one real conversation is going to trump over 10 crappy fake ones, or even if they're not crappy, they're just shallow, So, Your nervous system, it's always feeling safer when you are when there's authenticity. So if you can just have like a little connection with someone about something while you're at one of those, just for a couple of minutes, something that feels a little bit more real and authentic to you, that is really awesome. It doesn't have to like take over the whole party or anything like that, but that does seem to be, just a lot of little small talk, and it can be super draining. So look for something that can give you a genuine connection and help you feel safe wherever you are. Okay, so speaking about wherever you are, all right, let's stop overbooking. Um, I remember it was quite a few years ago because my now 13-year-old daughters were probably 3 or 4. But, we had so many different things somehow that we had, there was like a breakfast with Santa, and then there was this other breakfast with Santa. And then, because there was the one down at the Methodist church, and then the one with the mothers of multiples. And then there's this and this. So every weekend we had stuff to do. There was like so much going on for holiday, like we have like this event, this event, this event. And by the time Christmas rolled around, I had kids with fevers because, you're around all these people. And just like we said, you're overwhelmed. Everybody's overwhelmed and stressed out, even the kids, even though they're just like, trying to stay close to you. The kids are all freaked out too when there's lots of people, there's lots going on, lots of commotion, lots of attention grabbing things happening. So your nervous system, you're kind of stressed out. Your nervous system's like, what the hell is going on? And then what do? They hand you a candy cane. So then you're going to have sugar on top of that. So you're around a lot of people. There's a lot of overstimulation. There's people that are coughing and sneezing and, tooting and all this stuff. Then they hand you sugar. And then you wonder why everybody's feeling sick and overwhelmed and so exhausted, right? So, rather than overbooking everything. So, like you don't have to say yes to absolutely everything. Pick a couple of things that are the most exciting things that you guys want to do and just do those things. And every day, I want you to try and give yourself like one anchor ritual that you can do every day so that your nervous system can depend on some amount of safety every day. So, that can be like, pausing and having a nice cup of tea. It can be whatever grounding practice you like to do, breath work or meditation, prayer, just getting outside, of course, but something for the nervous system to kind of land on every day. Especially when there's so many things going on that you're kind of out of your normal schedule and a little bit busier than usual. Whew. You guys still with me? All right. So next, let's try and swap out some doom scrolling. And the real reason why I want you to be like, it's all about emotional maturity. This is all about being in control of your emotions, emotional self-mastery. So the less you are scrolling along, looking, reading different news articles or whatever comes up here or there, things can get you pretty jumpy. Things can get your blood boiling, so maybe not a whole day for doom scroll, depending on what depending on you, but maybe just a morning or an evening. I mean, sometimes like if you're scrolling and like you're getting all upset reading about something that really you should have just slept, had a good night's sleep and found out about that in the morning, if it was something you need to know about, but yeah, just at some point, just be okay, I'm going to give myself a break from this because those things, they're grabbing at your attention, they're all there just because they want to invoke an emotional response for engagement and everything. That is the whole point going on there. So you know breaking free of that is going to it's going to decrease your emotional reactivity, and it's going to help you to be more aware of how you're feeling and everything. And then you'll start to notice like, oh wow, look at all these people fighting in the comments, and you're going to have no desire to be there in the comments like fighting. So yeah, just maybe just a morning, maybe an afternoon, but try and schedule it during the week. Like I try not to scroll too much at night when I'm like, before I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I might like play a game or like do a crossword puzzle or something like that. But in terms of just scrolling and everything, because it has a tendency to get you really worked up, and then your mind starts going crazy and thinking, and then you're not getting a good night's sleep, or you're not falling asleep when you're supposed to. And that's no goods right there, right? Okay. So We got this topic is talked about a lot, but overspending. Swap the overspending. Nobody needs to be going broke to make Christmas merry and happy. No, because then you're not merry and happy. You're broke and sad. It's no good. It's no good. Okay. Intentional gifting. It's not about the price tag. It is about the thought. And if you're intentional about it, this is something needed. It's going to be something fun. You know, your adrenals don't need all the stress of like trying to fill like like, oh, everybody, we have to have this amount of stuff. It doesn't matter. Whatever intentional gifts you are going to give to your loved ones are perfectly fine. And you don't need to be, yeah, the overspending. I mean, the lower your money stress is, the calmer your holiday is. So I mean, you don't want to buy all this stuff with like this impending doom because you've got to pay a credit card bill. So, swap that out. The overspending is just silly. You don't need to overspend. Okay. If you've got the money and you can do it and you want to spend all, great. That's awesome. I'm not telling you can't spend money because that's not overspending to you. You got the cash. You're good. It's fine. But be aware, because if you are not rolling in dough, don't put yourself into huge amounts of debt for the holiday. Okay. Because that's mm-mm, mm-mm. No, because then you got to come to me for, your financial blocks with the emotion code and stuff like that. You don't need to do that. It's okay. And okay, you got to swap the spiraling. I know. And it can be hard because sometimes our emotions just do that. They start to spiral. And we're just like, oh my gosh, I'm lost in this chaos. Right now, it might be holiday chaos. So you need a quick regulation tool. So if you didn't listen to my episode last week, episode 82, I gave 10 actionable ways that you can help to regulate your nervous system, like right away. So, you've got your 4-6 breathing, in for 4, hold it for 2, release it for 6. That it's going to activate your parasympathetic when you let that out, when it's a longer exhale than an inhale. And yeah, like I said, cold water on your wrists. You can always shimmy into the bathroom or the kitchen, put some cold water on your wrists and breathe. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 senses, one hand over your heart, one hand on your belly, and breathe. There are ways that you can do this. There are ways that you can ground yourself, so give yourself a regulation tool that you can use to keep you from spiraling. Okay. Because these tiny swaps are going to be great big regulation tools. Okay. So, I mean, healthy holidays, it's not about restriction. Okay. It's about choosing what supports your body and what protects your energy. So, and that's going to mean something different for everybody. So if you would like to grab my emotional balance toolkit, it's just $7 and you can go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/EBT. And if you would like to try those moment drinks, they are mocktails. So they come in botanical sodas. They come flat and they come flat and they come bubbly. Okay, in a bunch of different flavors. So you can go to drinkmoment.com and make sure you use my code Moment Jessica M, because it's going to save you like 15% on your order. So go ahead and grab that. And listen, you don't need a perfect holiday, okay? You just need one that isn't going to drain your nervous system. Okay, that's what's important. Don't drain your nervous system. Okay, so be well, stay grounded. I'll see you next week.